Yeah, I think they just wanted her. You know, they wanted her on. I'll tell you know, after she was convicted, I saw the prosecutor actually put his hand up like he had won just, you know, his favorite team just won a football game. I mean, just that kind of thing just bothered me. You get this from a U.S. attorney. You know, he went, yeah, we got her, you know, like, and then they wanted her to go directly to jail like they did to Don Siegelman. So they obviously didn't want her between the conviction and the time of sentencing to have any...
Well, let me expand on that. We now have the White House executive order, the memos ordering the torture, and then they would send their own people who carried out the torture to prison and grandstand against it, and then one of them tried to defend himself with memos, and they declared Patriot Act, said he was a terrorist, and wouldn't let him defend him. I mean, it's so incredible that they hire the prostitutes, and then they kill them. And I guess they're psycho killers. I mean, they just do whatever they want. They just... This is really a crew of complete maniacs.
I believe that. I believe they are, and I look at this bunch in the White House like you look at these movies about the boys in a bunker in Berlin in April of '45. I think there's a lot of similarities.
I wonder, I guess the special ops guys, you know, that have been doing this for 30 years, I guess they just like drugging a woman or tasing her and then hanging her.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta wonder what goes through a cop's mind when we see these reports about tasering old ladies and guys in wheelchairs. I mean, what kind of sick people are these?
Yeah, we know going back into the 60s, they had hit teams in L.A. run by the police chief and by the CIA, and I guess now they just rule, and that's it, and shut up, we're the mafia, and that's the end of it.
Absolutely. You know, getting back to Jean Palfrey, the one thing that really bugs me, here her very elderly mother, Blanche, you know, living in this manufactured home north of Tampa in Tarpon Springs, not only had to deal with this tragic death, but had to deal with a Fox News helicopter hovering over her home. So can you imagine, you know, what she went through this morning? It's really again, they continue the torture after Jean's death. I would also add that they harassed her mother. The agents harassed her mother. Came around to visit her one night at 8 o'clock in the evening and really scared her. You know, with ladies in her 80s.
Well, they're good at this. Reading the details, it really stinks to high heaven. I mean, what does the public think about this? I mean, if they're torturing and chopping up Palestinians and duct taping them in the river and then saying it's suicide, I guess in a way this is a message to us that can think. It's like, hey, we kill whoever we want.
Well, that's right. That's right. And you know, as I said, we've got, you know, we may have a turf war here with what happened to Carnaby, the CIA agent in Houston. We may have a turf war as a result of us getting tough with this old Mossad guy and going after potentially some others. The way you deal with them is the way you deal with anybody that does that kind of thing. You start delivering some Mossad agents to the Israeli embassy in Washington in boxes and in pieces. Maybe they'll get the message then to stop their nonsense over here.
Or maybe they'll set a nuke off and run around grandstanding how much
they might do that anyway.
Well, they have had people in the Knesset say they may nuke Europe.
Well, that's always nice to hear.
Investigators say Palfrey's 72-year-old mother, Blanche, noticed a three-wheel bicycle had been moved from a shed next to her home. When she went to the shed to investigate, I mean, that's perfect. She gets out of her car, they tase her, they take her out, they hang her. Oh, man, that she didn't hang herself in the house, which psychologically you do it in a comfortable place. I mean, that is total murder. This is, oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's when she found her daughter hanging from the ceiling by a nylon rope in the shed. She called 911, but Palfrey was already dead. There were handwritten notes at the scene. Oh, yeah.
There always are.
Indicating that Palfrey intended to take her own life. A lot of times they'll just taser you. You wake up tied down. They go, listen, your mama's in there, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to rape her, and then I'm going to kill her. But it's going to take a few weeks unless you go ahead and you write this like I say right now. That's how they did it with... there were handwritten notes at the scene, including that Palfrey intended to take her own life, and no foul play was suspected. Oh, never. During the trial, Palfrey denied an escort service. Well, there you go. It's case closed. Everything's fine. Hung herself in the shed, Wayne Madsen. Well, yeah, I've seen it many times before, these types of reports. We had... Ted Westhuizen, the Army colonel who was investigating fraud amongst contractors in Baghdad. He supposedly shot himself.
we've got all these incidents, and none of them really pass any smell test. And I've written about a lot of them. I think the hallmark of the Bush administration is under George Bush and Dick Cheney, the United States became Argentina during the dirty wars where people were disappeared.
Wayne Madsen, report.com. I want to get you back up on the show tomorrow. I'm having a producer call you, try to set you up for 20, 30 minutes as you have more time to collate and talk to people. But anything else your sources told you, anything else Deborah Jean Palfrey, clearly murdered, told you, anything else that we should look for? I mean, they killed Britain, they killed her.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they're going to kill more people? If they do find you dead or 5 gunshots, I know you laugh, but I mean, it killed me too. I mean, you're really in trouble, buddy. I mean, if they kill you, I mean, do you want to just make it very clear you're not going to kill yourself?
Absolutely. And furthermore, in Washington, we had a spate of people jumping off of buildings here. John Kuckel, State Department Iraqi analyst, and Gus Weiss, a retired CIA officer. I'll make it plain right now that I'm very afraid of heights, so that won't be the way. No, I'm not. If anyone hears about it, it's absolutely not the case. I will say that I had sources in addition to Jean, but they verified everything that she was trying to say about the high level nature of these clients of her escort service. And in one case, I found out that Dick Cheney did get a job for one of the escorts at the political job at the Agriculture Department. So Cheney's fingerprints are all over this case. And
I guess that's a little Jilly he really liked.
Yeah, well, he must have. And if this isn't a suicide, if it eventually goes from suicide to homicide, I would suggest to the police investigators the first person they need to go interview is Mr. Cheney.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll interview him. He's just killed 1 million Iraqis. And that's the thing, folks. You know, you laugh at Iraqis and say they're not human. They're doing this to us here. And it's just so painful to see this happen, to have talked to her, to have seen this happen, and to have them kill her in the shed. This is just so classic. And, it doesn't matter if you say, I'm not going to kill myself, I'm not going to. I remember some of the Arkansas that were so ridiculous. In and around all the CIA drug dealing there, and it's just, it has to end someday. It has to stop. Do you think these crazies are still going to attack Iran? More and more people say they're not going to now, Wayne.
I'll tell you, there's a window, and it's between now and when the monsoon rains start. If they wait until after the monsoon rains start, and the way the winds, prevailing winds are in that part of Asia, they come down out of Siberia, the steppes of Asia. They come down, they're counterclockwise. They dip down into the Indian Ocean, pick up the moisture, and if they're picking up radiation from Iran as a result of a U.S. hit after those rains, then all that radioactive rain falls on India and Southeast Asia and China.
But it's a new ball game. They'll just probably do whatever. They'll probably fly around with prostitutes on nooses hanging from helicopters, dressed up in devil outfits. I mean, who knows these people now? Well, we're talking about them irradiating an already. They'll just say it's of the Lord. Right, a rice crop that's already in. We have a rice food crisis now, but if Asia's rice crop is irradiated as a result of radioactive rainfall, I think China will hit the U.S. 7th Fleet, and then I think that every war game that Colonel Sam Gardner ran when he was with the National War College and Naval War College will come to pass. That what really happened? Well, tell us what would come to pass. This is important, but he said it was a bad idea to hit Iran. Is that why they drove Fallon out? Oh yeah, that's why they drove Fallon out, and they accused Vice Admiral John Stufflebeam, who had just left as commander of the 6th Fleet, who was chief of the naval staff. They accused him of having an affair 18 years ago when he was an aide to then President George H.W. Bush. He was the guy that carried the football, the nuclear codes. And they brought up an 18-year-old case, and they fired him and took one of his stars away. Because that was like... Fallon were, yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah, he and Fallon both were opposed to any hit on Iran. Now they got Petraeus in there in charge of CENTCOM. What type of person is Petraeus? He looks like the boyfriend of George Bush type. Yeah. Well, a lot of our troops in Iraq call him General Betray-Us, not Petraeus. So I guess Betray-Us will do whatever he's told. Oh, absolutely. He's a lick spittle, and
as my friend George Galloway, the British MP, says he has a great term. He's a popinjay because he'll do anything, as you say, anything he's told.
And what do the war game shows going to happen if they cause World War III in the Hormuz Strait there?
Retaliation from China against the U.S. 7th Fleet, retaliation by Russia. We're talking global thermonuclear warfare.
Which is, I guess, what psychopaths want. So.
Which is the end of it all. But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you like to play?
And meanwhile, you have put out the information that sources told you that it was Dick Cheney, and you're living in D.C., where they have the largest concentration of their hitmen. And again, you are not going to commit suicide. You're happy. You're not depressed. You're doing well.
I am.
You're doing a great job. Wayne Madsen, WayneMadsenReport.com. Folks definitely need to support you, and we appreciate you coming on.